This is the official 2026 Rlcs Decal tier listing stream. If you're new here, you will maybe not know this is a thing I do all the time. This is a thing we have done many years in a row. This was last year's tier rankings. We had Luminosity and Falcons and BDS at our S tier. RIP Luminosity and BDS, they're no longer in the game. They no longer have teams. So Falcons, the lone team that sits at the top of S tier, can they hold on to that ranking or will they fall? So how we're going to rank these teams, rank these decals, it's going to be based off of strictly how pretty do we think they are? Do we think that they're cool? Do we like them? I will take into consideration chat's opinion, but this is my tier list. How good of a universal decal is it? So, does it work on multiple cars? Is it if it's just good on the Octane, Fennec, and Dominus, that's not a great decal. It's a universal decal. It needs to work on all the cars, which is a really difficult challenge. I'm not gonna say that this is an easy thing to do, but it is gonna be a thing that they gotta figure out how to do. Third thing, how well does it represent your brand? Rainbow decals are fun, but rainbow decals, you can go too hard. You can rainbow too close to the sun. So we'll see. Not saying, we don't know. So SSG's done a lot of rainbows. G2, I like the rainbows. I highly rank rainbow decals. I do like teams that successfully think outside the box. I don't want the teams to just be locked into. I want Shopify Rebellion's decal to just be green with a black logo. Let's get into the decals. Now, we did see these this weekend on the kickoff LAN at Copenhagen. We debuted these, but I didn't get a super close look at them. Also, those decals we were seeing were anodized and were very, very pretty and weren't what you were actually buying in the shop. So let's go take a look at what we have here and live react to them again, knowing that I have experienced spoilers. We're just going to go in the order they are presented here, which you can't see up here. This top one is Dignitas. The logo having Digi's eyes X'd out, crazy. Really cool, unique vibe here. They have now, for 2 seasons, kind of moved to this trans flag, sort of like blue to teal to magenta pink vibe. I think that Dignitas is actually moving away from yellow as a color. That is like their primary color. And so I think that this is representing their new brand well. I love it. I did like it better anodized for sure. That's going to be the thing that I'm not going to say anymore on this stream because it's going to be true of pretty much all of the decals. But this is how we saw it in Copenhagen. It was on the Octane. And again, how universal are these? Curious. Okay, let's take a look at it on Fennec. Okay, with the random loadout here. The halo and the white Zombas don't really work. This big stripe they've kind of got going down the side. Can I bring my mouse in here? There we are. This line, very, very pretty. And it kind of creates this nice contrast of like a very monochromatic black and white front they got going on here with the full color gradient in the back. It's a cool contrast, very striking. This plus minus symbol, interesting detail. I'm curious what it means. It kind of shows up in a few spots. You can see it here on the roof of the car, the plus and minus next to the Digi logo as well, or on the hood. Does it show up anywhere else? I think this is it as far as those plus and minuses go. I like this a lot. This is incredibly strong. S versus A is the range I'm thinking. Is this an S tier decal? Have they nailed it? One thing that they have done that I think going to earn them some points here is that they have moved their branding, despite them still having a branding. Actually, I think for the sake of the stream, maybe just have this over here. They're still using the yellow logo though. So I don't know if they just haven't updated this part of their brand, but like their jerseys last season, I think even their logo on RLCS was this pink to blue gradient. So this is an interesting kind of like inconsistency they got on it, but I do think this is the direction they're moving. So given that this is a very striking, very unique brand decision that they have made in the esports space, and that they have really owned it with this sick decal and this cool XI thing. I love this brand. This is also very techy, which is very, very me. Let's try it on a few other cars before we give our full rankings here. Does it work on something random like the Charger here? That works pretty good. Dang, and it's got this like, I didn't even notice this at first, but this curve here, they're earning a lot of points right now. Look at how different the decal looks on this car versus the other two we saw. On the other two, it was very, very angular. There was lots of angles. Like this line really came across as sharp, but this line is kind of swoopy here, which is really interesting because this is a much more swoopy car in general. This decal looks like it was made bespoke for the Charger. This is actually incredible that it looks this good on this car. This line here, I'm like now, okay, so what did this line look like? I didn't even notice that line previously. What did it look like on like an Octane? It was straight crazy. No, look at this. Like this line here. This is that curved line, but now on this car, it's coming across straight here. Fascinating. And here's that kind of panel, like this is so interesting how this decal is like taking on very, very different shapes. Honestly, like now I'm looking at this on the Octane. I don't love this curve. It looks like this was supposed to be straight, and this texture just kind of like bent up over the top here and became kind of like curved onto the back there. I don't love that, but that's like such a small thing, and like those are the things that are going to come with universal decals. This is really cool. This is a really interesting design. Okay, like give me another swoopy car. Give me another curvy car. Sure. With the carbon fiber hood. How does it interact with that? Interesting. It looks cool. I mean, obviously it doesn't go with the green that I've got going on here, but that's on me. Oh, and the logo moves to the top! The logo moves to the top! That's so cool! I just assumed with this car that has a like mandatory textured hood that they would just not be there. Just Nomad. How does it work with this guy? Oh, the logo's huge! Okay, this was an A tier decal, but how well it is working on every car body it's putting on, this is easily an S tier decal. This is easily an S tier for me. Congratulations to Dignitas there. Straight on to S tier. Let's start with Furia on the Nomad, just by comparison here, and see how good this looks. Logo looks great. Flames are great. First thing I'm noticing here is how empty the sides of the vehicle are. If we go back and compare to the Dignitas one, it just kept going. It just like the pattern is so deep, where what they designed here is cool, is great, but it's clearly not designed to go on a car that has this high of a sidewall. So that's instantly like a little bit of points away from Furia when it comes to the universality of the decal. But if we look at the rest of it, the flames are cool. I like the color palette. The color palette's interesting. It doesn't scream Furia to me. Interesting. The back of the car is still just kind of empty. In general, this is not a very complex decal. It's got stuff going on in the front, and I don't like how busy it is in the front compared to how empty it is in the back. Pick one. The logo is just, it literally looks like a sticker kind of slapped on top. It is not integrated into the decal the way that the Digi one kind of felt like it was. Nothing else about this is Furia. It's got fire, but that's not Panther themed. Let's try it on some other cars here real fast, just out of grace. I don't know if there's going to be... Ooh, interesting. This looks like a really hard decal to do. Oh, it actually works pretty well here. I will say that how busy this vehicle is helps with this decal kind of actually working. So actually, when we got a lot of stuff going on, it's not that bad, right? And the back's just kind of empty. So Furia, this is strong. It's a pretty decal. I like the colors, but they aren't showing off their own brand particularly well. It's not featuring the Furia decal or logo. It's just kind of like it just has it. It's just like a sticker slapped on top of a decal that otherwise is not interacting with the logo in any way. And the universality of it's not particularly that good. I think this is I'm gonna put this in C for now. Maybe if the rest of the field stays bad, they might get a bump up. Okay, next decal. We'll stick with this vehicle. How does Foot handle the long hood? Okay. Foot's kind of picking up the reins of the red decals. We've previously had a lot of black and red orgs. We don't have as many anymore, and Foot is one of those. So I like the chevrons they've got going on. Unlike the Furia decal, this does carry from the front to the back of the car. The pattern stays very consistent. I don't love how close that star is getting to the top of the hood on this car. It's a little bit... I mean, let's go to a different vehicle and see if that's a placement issue on all the cars, or if it's just here. What does it look like on the Proteus? This is cruel. This is cruel. We're not doing them any favors by featuring them on very kind of outlandish vehicles here. Interesting. The logo, it really features the star very prominently, but unfortunately the Foot logo is just not well placed. Otherwise, I'd say this is incredibly, like fantastically well done on the Proteus. And again, the Foot logo is nearly touching the like bodywork of the car. Crazy. The Dignitas decal just continues to work on every vehicle. It's really cool. Let's go to like a normal car though. Okay, so the logo looks fine on the Octane. The star is nice and prominently placed on the car it was clearly designed for. It looks very good. It's a little simple. I'm not excited to keep looking at it. The Dignitas one I keep looking at. I keep going like, oh, I feel like there's details I haven't noticed on this, which is really cool. Without it being like maximalist. Without it being like, I can't, like this is too much to look at, right? The Foot one is fine. It's not particularly creative. Here, right now I've got it in B tier, I think. This is a solid, good decal. B tier for me is sort of the like, there's nothing bad, but there's nothing I'm excited about. A tier is, I'm excited about it. S tier is, it's singularly unique. It's the it goes to 11 on a shorter space. Okay, GK. GK didn't have a decal last time. GK's colors are a hard sell for me. This is my personal tier list. My personal preferences on colors do factor into this. Navy to royal blue and like bright yellow, like poppin' yellow. Not a color combination I'm a particularly big fan of. So they got some work to do to sell me on this one. The fact that I start them on an orange Roadhog doesn't help their case, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles here. Interesting choice to have the GK logo be their white stamp, not the logo you see up in the corner there, where it's got the yellow and then the esports word is in white. I don't know why they made that choice when they have the yellow going on everywhere else. Let's put it on not a Roadhog here. This design on the side, I don't understand what it is. It's like fish fossils? I'm not sure what they got going on there. I like that they've got the little like kind of GK, which I think is honestly in some ways a better logo. For hot take here, a logo should not feature your name. GK's branding in general they are starting on a bad place for me. Like they are a hard sell for me, not just on the colors, but the fact that their logo is just their name over an upside down triangle. There's not actually a logo here. This is a font. So I kind of like you see on the hood here where it says like the GK. I kind of like that better than because that's almost a logo. Logo stuff aside, the use of the lines kind of on the back of the car, they've got a similar curve happening back here that the Dignitas logo has. So I bet that that'll work really well. They also have kind of like these lines here. I have a feeling this is going to work well in a lot of cars. So I'm excited to go put it on some other bodies and see what it looks like. I like the big strong yellow on the spoiler. I don't like that it's completely off center. What is that? How did that happen? That's so bad. Let's see what it looks like on other vehicles. Yeah, the curves do work. The lines, some of the designers have figured out some stuff with the lines here. But again, these yellows in the back are not centered. They're not even centered in relation to the GK. Do you see how the yellow of these yellow kind of like horns they've got in the back, the way they like compare to the GK print, the pattern, and there's this huge space on the left where it's not on the right. This is bad, unfortunately. This is, I think, D tier because of that. Like, that is... I don't like the colors. I don't like the fact that they don't actually have a good logo. I don't like the fact that they use the white logo where they use the yellow logo everywhere else, except for on this car where they have their yellow and blue everywhere. It almost gets redeemed because of the line work. I do think this car works well on will work well on almost every vehicle, except that horrible, like, just badly designed, badly spaced back to it. Like, this is cool. Interesting that the logo is moved to the side here. Is this the case on on this car everywhere? Yeah, the logo is moved to the side here. That's pretty cool. Okay. C or D. If they fix that, it could go up to B. It's a really unfortunate mistake there, unfortunately. But I will say, the lines thing, really cool, and the fact that I don't like these colors, and I think they made them appealing to me in some ways. I think that them bouncing it out with the lighter blue, this kind of like light blue bit they've got going on here, I do like that a lot. I think that really helps balance out what is otherwise a kind of boring color palette to me. Gen G. We have Gen G last year. Gen G was like kind of middle of the pack. I didn't like Gen G's. I mean, it was my hottest take last season was I didn't like Gen G's logo or Gen G's decal because it looked brown, which part of that is it's not anodized. If it was anodized, I think it would have looked incredible because it would look like gold, which is what Gen G wants. But the designers knew what they were designing wasn't an anodized decal. And even if they didn't, they do now. They absolutely know now. So if this decal is brown, interesting, not brown at all. Actually, it completely went in a different direction. This is very American, especially on the Catfish Camaro here. Red, white, and blue, and then there's the logo. The logo has this interesting kind of like gradient thing in the middle. Let's put it on a different vehicle. It's a little hard to see on this one. I do like the depth of the busyness, the balance of the busyness. There's like, as far as what they've got going on, it's going on kind of the whole time, it looks like. Whoa. This decal actually makes this car look fierce. Love how big the Gen G logo is on it. And I will say that kind of the balance here coming down the middle of the car with this white pointing towards the Gen G logo. See, here I don't mind the fact that they're not using their white and gold logo because the rest of the car isn't a white and gold motif. they're kind of going in a different direction. They're kind of intentionally making a variation of the GENG brand. They lose a few points on not reinforcing the brand they've been building, but I do like it when the orgs kind of like are willing to play outside the boundaries. And this isn't so far away that I'm like, what are we doing? The choice to kind of put this little like gradient band in the middle of their logo, kind of give it that like metallic sheen. So this is really cool. Last time I was talking about like the fact that their logo, that their decal was clearly meant to look like it was metal, but it's not metal. Look at the way that they have this little like band of gray in the middle of their logo. That's not the lights. That's baked into there. That's part of that logo. It never moves, and it'll be there on every vehicle. But it gives it this impression, this kind of illusion of being metallic. Really cool art design, kind of fundamental arts understanding there of light and of color to kind of achieve a metallic look on a glossy decal here. It's interesting how well these lines play with the kind of jaggedness of the Ronin here. Let's go see it on a different vehicle. These lines all work really well with the body lines of the Octane. This kind of gives, it features the gold a little bit more prominently here. There are these little gold bands in it, which are interesting, but they do have gold. They do come across as gold, not browns. They did achieve that well. So there's little references to their original colors in this red, white, and blue. This is a great decal. The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm really liking it. Let's see it on a few other vehicles. I think we have our first A tier here. The red, white, and blue motif is a little on the nose, kind of boring to me in some ways. So it's not like a personal favorite the way that the like techie version of the Dignitas one is, but really it's a preference thing. And I could see other people putting this in S tier, and I wouldn't be upset about it at all. Interesting. Doesn't play very well on the Nomad here. The lines kind of get broken up, as you can see at this joint. These kind of come up and are like the texture doesn't continue well here, which is interesting. Also, the way that white stripe, the way they have to move the logo on top of the white stripe, because there's no kind of black stroke around the outside of the GENG logo, it kind of gets lost in the white there. So again, I do think a black stroke around the logo or something could help it. But otherwise, this is really good. I think this was a strong A tier for me. And the logo not being perfect on every vehicle is not enough to move it down to B tier. But yeah, the way that this is scaling and kind of stretching over the back of this, honestly, this kind of like blur, like flowing flag vibe that they've got going works on every single decal or every single car body. You can really stretch it around and it's just fine. So this is a solid A tier, very, very good. Well done, GENG, and a big improvement from last year. Let's take a look at Gentlemates. Here's a fun thing that was happening this season. We saw this in Copenhagen. A lot of teams have a flower motif going on with their decals. I don't know if the designers all coordinated around this and said we're doing flowers this season, but that's going to become kind of a trend, and I think Gentlemates is the first one here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, take a look at this. Interesting. I did not notice the Gentlemates kind of like perfume or like liquor style logo going down the stripes there. The flowers are interesting. They do just kind of like look slapped on top, but I will say, on this car in particular, they are kind of working out of really kind of cool spots on the car. They look like they're kind of growing out of the molding or out of kind of the air vents. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. It's got a very classy, almost sports vibe to it with the stripes and the logos kind of going down the center of it, which I do like. This is cool. So they got kind of a blue thing going on, but the pink and green are kind of the two colors that are most primarily associated with Gentlemates. And they have those present in the flowers on the car without being kind of forcing it down your throat. I think I would like it. This would honestly start to get like, they get a lot of props from me if their logo was a like pink and green version to tie in with the flowers. That would be, that'd be so sick. The fact that it's actually kind of a different color. The blue of the Gentlemates, the dark blue on the background of the Gentlemates is not the same dark blue as the car itself. That's a problem for me. And the white line, that like 1 pixel line of white around the logo itself, is unfortunately not very well integrated. I can really see that they just kind of put the Gentlemates logo directly on top of that stripe. They're not kind of like working together, so I do lose points for that. But I do like the flower thing. I do like the flower thing, the blue thing. Tom says the Gentlemates decal was inspired by the jersey they wore when they won the Fortnite Global Championships. That's cool. So they are kind of keeping an epic esports styling here. I do love that. That's cool lore. That does make this a little bit more fun. We'll see how it works on other cars, though. Love how big the logo looks on this car. This is nice. And the flowers continue to kind of like grow out of cool spots on the car. It's losing it a little bit there on the spoiler, but that doesn't bother me that much. Interesting the way that we noticed this on a few of the other decals as well. The way that these decals stretch around the back of the Octane here. There'll be a lot of decals that have like a very like a straight motif, some like straight lines that then bend up around and kind of curve on the back of the Octane. It's the thing all the decals have done. And here, because they put a logo in it, they put a logo kind of like design, it's stretching that, which that I don't love. And also in general, actually I would say in general, the Gentlemates logos in those stripes are very odd shapes on this car. Like look at the difference between this one and this one. See how skinny and like squatty it is here versus how stretched it is here? Interesting choice to bake in a logo like that you can't, that then when it gets stretched over the car actually comes out deforming the logo. Interesting to note how that doesn't look as good as I thought it would on the Octane. I assumed the Octane was a car that they very much considered when designing it. Let's take a look at the Fennec. The Fennec is the traditional French car in Rocket League that all the French people drive. Yeah, that whole issue I was just talking about with the logos is non-existent on the Fennec, which is the car that almost all their players are going to drive. This is clearly the one they designed it around the most. This also features the flowers most prominently. This is really cool. Yeah, I think this is an A tier decal. Well, okay, no, but with the logo stuff too, I think it's a B. Well, okay, hold on. So let's be consistent here. My B tier is there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing great about it. C is there's some things wrong with it. D is there's things wrong with it that I can't look past. I think this is C, actually. How the Gentlemates logos get stretched on curvy cars. You combine that with the Gentlemates, the primary Gentlemates decal logo on the front not being the same color as the striping and having that white one line of pixels around it, so I can really tell that they just kind of slapped a Gentlemates PNG on the surface instead of actually integrating it into the decal. I think this goes to C. But with all those things, it's like the top of C, bottom of B. But I think Gentlemates gets to drop to C for this one. Unfortunate for them. I'll put them in front of Furia. The reason we're in the tier list factoring in how universal the decal is A, it's one of the selling points of the decal, and B, it's one of the hardest things to do. Make a decal actually look good on all the cars. So let's see how Karmine Corp did. We said that the flower motif was a thing that was popping up. Gentlemates had one of them. Karmine Corp was one of the other teams that had a flower motif going on here. And interesting to confirm, we were curious whether it was a deep, deep blue for Karmine Corp or whether it was actually black and white. And it does, to my eyes, look like this is black and white, which is cool. I don't hate this. I do wish it maybe had a little blue somewhere. Because again, one of the other things we're ranking them on, how well do they stand up to their brand? Black and white is sort of a cheat code of, I want to do something different with my brand, but I don't want to obfuscate the brand I've made. If they were to make a red and yellow decal, we'd be like, what is this? This isn't Karmine Corp. But black and white, any team can get away with doing a black and white. So it's a little bit of a cop out, but it's also cool. It's also cool. They've mostly done blues in the past, so I don't hate that they gave themselves a black and white option. These look like hibiscus flowers to me. If somebody in the chat wants to tell me if there's a different flower that's like important to France, I'm happy to learn. Interesting to note, when we talk about like the centeredness, that middle bit's the only thing that looks like maybe you could like even tell if it was off center because of the kind of asymmetrical floral pattern they've chosen here. You can't even tell whether it's centered or not. It's not a thing you get to look at and think about, which is cool. That's a good way to deal with the problem of different UV sets. Part of me is confused as to what these are. They look like they're kind of like parts of the flower that's getting stretched on top in a weird way. I think they are flowers. It creates kind of a cool pattern on top, though. I'm not gonna lie, it was cool on the Octane too, even if like lore-wise it's a little unimmersive that they're stretching their flowers out like that. I kind of don't hate it. Also, low-key, the Nomad looks good in all these decals. Every time we put the Nomad on, I thought the Nomad was going to be a difficult car. It's not been. It's actually been really easy. It's actually really, really kind of fun because there's some fun details of the Nissan Z that people that like carried over from the real car. This car has a black hood and like a black roof, so this is part of the car no matter what decal you put on it. And also, this stripe here, this is supposed to resemble a katana sword. And in the real life Nissan Z, if you see a 400Z out there, they have this stripe on all of their cars. So it's kind of cool that on this monochromatic decal, it actually really works out well. It's just a kind of happenstance. They didn't think about that when designing this decal. Love the way that the white here kind of creates these like almost like, I don't know, like Superman style framing. Ours look really good. This is a great A tier. I think, unless anyone's got a complaint here, I think that this is a solid A tier decal, and we don't need to overthink it. There's nothing about it that's screaming something more than that to me. Well done. Good stuff. And I'd even say I like it better than Gen G's just because the Gen G's is pretty cool. This is kind of 1A, 1B for me. All right. Pioneers. Pioneers, interesting to note, you can't really see because of my face there, but their logo has they've got like a kind of pink motif going on here. Unlike Dignitas, who did not feature their logo with their new colors, it looks like Pioneers maybe have. Let's see if that is reflected. Yeah. Okay. You guys need to understand, if you know anything about WavePunk, this is a WavePunk ass decal right here. It's got literal graffiti down the side, which you can't read, which means it's good graffiti. Strong, bold lines. The logo is featuring kind of the same colors. I love the inversion here. Instead of having the logo be the same colors as the graffiti and then having that sharp black line on the outside, which is what the graffiti's got going on, the logo is black and then the line on the outside is the colors of the graffiti. That's a really cool feature. Interesting kind of empty top space here. It looks like what they did, and this is a thing some teams have done in the past, they have just made a decal that goes on the sides of the car, and then there's a logo that goes in the middle, and there's kind of nothing else going on. This is the only thing that could possibly lose at points here, is that this kind of like safe technique is not that interesting. But I will say I do love the colors. I do really love the colors, and they might make it into A tier or S tier just because it's me making the tier list, and I do like rainbow stuff. I want to put all the rainbow decals in A tier. That feels a little bit silly. And part of me wants to know, is this a brand thing they're moving towards? Or is this just their logos, their colors for this season? Like, how does this work? It is so bright, which I will say the brightness here is partially to do with the room that they're rendering this car in. All decals look bright in this previewer. Like, it won't be like overexposed on the top there like that in normal Rocket League. This is very, very cool. I do wish there was something going on there in the center and the back. Like the roof being entirely white like that feels like a wasted opportunity. It's not that you need to maximalist fill up everything like everybody does, but it feels like, I don't know, it just feels empty. You know, especially compared to how busy the sides are, I want something going on the top there. Even if it's just this exact pattern made like way transparent, and then it's just like it's almost just like a texture on the top, that would be great. I don't know if I can put this in S tier because of that. This works because there's so much stuff that this car body naturally has going on at the top. I really thought that would be one that has it featured on the side. Yeah. It loses some points there because they did this whole, like, we put the logo on the top and then we have a really cool bespoke design on the sides. When the car is forced to put the logo on the side, it's not good. It's not good. I think this is a strong A tier, almost an S tier for me, but it's gonna not quite make the cut for S tier on this one. Really love seeing them here though. Very, very strong decal. I'll put them at the top of A. So, and because it's me making the list and I love graffiti type stuff and I love that sort of color palette, it's a really, really strong choice for me. Another org that was on my I want to see a decal from them last year list. Ninjas in Pajamas. They are now in the game. Interesting. Okay, I remember now. I kind of forgot what this one looks like. They are not having the problem that Ninjas, the Pioneers had of having a decal that the logo gets interrupted by it being on the side. This one feels very empty to me. The front is just black, and then there's some stripes, and then there's some purple. Which, if there's any Ninjas in Pajamas fans in the chat that can tell me Ninjas in Pajamas that have purple featured in it, I don't know. I don't understand the purple. It feels very random. It doesn't feel like it ties into their brand. It doesn't feel like it also plays well with this green. This green and this purple and the black, like, I don't know. There's like, it almost makes the green look yellow. It really brings out the yellow. The lines do strange things. Like, what is this? Why are these kind of coming up and then fading and then like starting here? It doesn't feel like they worked it well into a Fennec. Let's see if or into an Octane. Let's see if it works better on a Fennec. It does look better on the Fennec. Those stripes on the top all like kind of make sense now. It doesn't make sense to me why they are kind of coming up from the ground and fading into black and then fading into black this way. They fade green to purple and into black, but on the side here, they just fade from green straight to black. That's just weird. It's just very inconsistent and strange and minimal in a way that leaves a lot to be desired for me. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. The centering is not great, but it's not. I didn't notice it until I was looking for it, so that's fine. The way the stripes work up here, it just makes the front of the car. The front of the car is just like you can position this like This is an esports decal? I shouldn't be able to do this. I shouldn't be able to position the car in such a way that I can't tell that it's an esports decal. This one for me, I love, and this is someone who loves Ninjas in Pajamas branding. I think that's a really fun logo. I really like their colors as a brand. We're somewhere in this range. I think this is a C. Well, it might get moved down to D. I'll think about it. We'll come back to it at the end of the list and do kind of like a once over. It just feels like they kind of stopped halfway. GK's to me felt like they made mistakes. This one felt like they just didn't finish. I really was excited for a good Ninjas in Pajamas one. I really wanted a strong Ninjas in Pajamas one. NRGs. Oh, kind of a hot take for me last year. I think I put them at A. A lot of other people had them at S. Did they get an A out of me this time? Let's start them on a hard car. Ooh. Interesting. It doesn't play with the lines of the Firebird, but it weirdly has like a Firebird kind of thing going on in the front here. Cool stripes. Love the double stars as two-time world champs. What does it look like on a normal vehicle? Like a titanium white octane. Kind of, so interesting, you look at the top here. It looks like they took all the old NRG logos they've ever designed and put them into this sort of like Paisley-esque pattern. That's kind of cool. I don't hate it. That's kind of creative. Like, you can see in there, this is the old NRG logo that they started with. I don't see the globe one, though. But like, this says NRG, this says NRG. This starts to get into kind of a maximalist range where there's not like a unified identity from beginning to back. You have this sort of like almost cowboy boot looking like leather type front that then fades into this sort of like leather print up the middle. That's cool. But then you've got this very tech marathon sci-fi particle-y triangle thing going on in the back. Those things don't really have anything to do with each other, which is, so it's kind of surprising to me to see them here. But I will say, the lines on the car all really work well. So far, both cars have looked all right. I want to see what this looks like on the Charger. Yeah, like this works really well. Like they kind of like this curve, right? Like it's not exactly the curve of the car here, but it does. The decal becomes more curvy when it's put on a more curvy car, which is really cool. And like these lines were like very straight when they were on the Octane. It does just kind of fade to orange at the back. And for how busy the front is, for the back to just be one solid color, I don't know, it's just a little inconsistent. Interesting. The centering is strange here, but honestly, I'm starting to wonder if that's just a problem on all Fenix. I think this is A. And like, hate me if you want, but that's a good ranking to get. It's their second year in A. Power had one of my favorite decals back in the day. Let's see what they have this time. Okay. I do love the bright color, the dark gradient from the back to the front, and then that creates this kind of negative space for this really strong, striking black mark logo in the front. This is a really cool way to integrate your logo, I think. I'm curious on the side profile cars if this doesn't work as well. It probably doesn't. The lightning, fun motif. They are Power, the organization, so the electricity vibe is really cool. It has sort of an anime shading style to it that I think is really cool. The speed lines are fun. This is a good example of how to add detail to the car without having to be maximalist. This is what I was saying I didn't like on the Pioneers one. As cool as it is, the top of the car is just blank. There's nothing. Versus the Power one has something without it being like busy, you know? This is a really solid decal in my mind. You're doing a lot of things really, really well. Really cool color palette. I think as far as the decal goes, it is doing everything it's trying to do. Now, does it work well on other cars? No centering problems. I don't see a single, like, if it has a centering problem, you can't tell because of the kind of the asymmetricality of it and because of the texturedness of it. Like, there's not, this is really, they're a really cool way to, like, within the confines, the restrictions of what they are having to deal with, great way to deal with the car. What does it look like on the F-150? Looks great. It looks great on the F-150. Final boss cars. Does it look good on this car? The logo does do the thing. If they had a way to upload the yellow logo, this logo, for like when it's on the side profile, use this logo, oh, that'd be sick. And look at the places in too. Look, they thought about it. When it's on the side, have there be a place for the logo, right? And sure, the block doesn't work great, but given the restrictions they have, I think this is a good workaround. Within the meta they are playing, they are nailing it. So I think this is a very, very good, strong decal. I do think that is another A. A lot of A tiers. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I can move down here. I don't think there is. I think all these are, I think this tier list is good, but we need to resize this now just a little bit. Oh. CJ's been waiting. He's been waiting, folks. Let's see what Shopify Rebellion looks like. Ooh, wait. Hold on, folks. So I did remember a little bit what it looked like, but we only saw it on the Octane, like one specific dynamic. Here on the problem car, the logo's on the side. It has to be small. I will say that's kind of a small logo. How small are other logos here? This is about the normal size these are on this spot. I mean, it's just literally a small spot for a logo. That's my one complaint with it here on the problem car. But you know, we've been talking about centering issues. How do you deal with a centering issue? Well, how about you just make it a starry night sky across the whole board? Magnificent. Magnificent detail everywhere. Nobody's ever thought to do this either. This is creative. I do also love the colors. I love the proximity of this one striking star to the logo. Like, it's got this like kind of twinkle to it. That's cool. It is a little bit of a cop-out in terms of they're avoiding the whole centering issue by just not having anything that needs to be centered. What does it look like on the Venom? It looks fire on the Venom. Actually, genuinely. Just very, very good. Because they're not doing the, like, strong lines, which I am preferential. Or the biggest reason Dignitas is in S tier, folks, the biggest reason is I like it. I think it's really cool. I love techie sci-fi type stuff. And the fact that they took these big, strong lines that then on every car I put it on makes the decal look different is so cool. I think it's going to probably be the #1 decal of the batch for me. I don't think anything's going to be able to beat this. But Shopify Rebellion isn't like, this looks the same on every car. But that's a good thing. That is a good thing. It's not, holy crap, that's amazing to me, but it is good. It is an incredibly, like, it's a thing that other decals have really struggled with. So I think that is a fantastic car. Let's put it on an Octane or a Fennec real fast. Given the colors, given the lay of the land, I do think it's going in S tier. I do wish the logo was just a little bit bigger. What does it look like on the Nomad? Yeah, I wish the logo was just a little bit bigger. In the decal landscape we find ourselves in 2026, I do think this gets an S tier. They get that. They earned it. Let's talk about Space Station. Because I saw some people being like, oh, I thought I was pointing fingers at Space Station. I don't think that this decal is getting away, while it is rainbowing, it is not rainbowing so hard that we can't enjoy it. Or so hard that we aren't aware of the fact that this is an SSG decal. The yellow is still the most prominent color of this rainbow, which is good. I've never seen anybody do this in the history of RLCS decals. You want to talk about an S tier thing, though? This logo here. Look at the flowers. Those are on the logo. No one has ever integrated a logo like this before. Nobody has ever said, let's actually modify our print to include it, to have it work with the rest of the decal. They just slap their logo on top of it. We saw that just now with Shopify. We saw that with, like, Pioneers is a little bit that way, right? The question is, did Pioneers change their branding? I don't know. Space Station's branding definitely does not have flowers as a part of it right now. This is not their new official logo with these 4 flowers. But this decal, they decided, you know what, let's put some colors on there. The X'd out eyes for Dignitas is kind of that way, but I can see that being a global thing. I just don't, these flowers, I don't think we're going to see show up anywhere other than this decal. And I think that's a really cool thing. I think it's really interesting. Let's see. This might be our best Firebird. The lighting in this room makes it hard to tell. But it is integrated in a way that none of the others have been integrated on the Firebird. This is a really cool decal. And I will say, Space Station has earned a little bit of extra points in my mind every year because they continue to try and do something different. And they consistently do something different while keeping a strong brand identity and while working within the confines and the rule set given to them. You remember, like I was saying, like on Shopify, like, sure, you can't tell whether it's centered or not, but because there's no lines that it needs to be centered on. There are lines for this one. While this one achieves kind of the same thing of, like, back here, like, you can't tell if it's centered or not, there are some, like, strong lines here, right? Like, it's cool balance. I don't love that the flower, like, creeps up onto that specific little hood vent, but that's just that is the nature of universal decals. There's going to be things like that. It's impossible to avoid those. Even the Dignitas one has had a few of those. So, while I don't know if I'll actually be using this decal that much, I think this is, without a shadow of a doubt, an S tier decal. I think Falcons is next here. Okay, this is important because I gave 3 decals S tier last season: Luminosity, BDS, and Falcons. Luminosity and BDS no longer in Rocket League. So Falcons is the only S tier that could potentially stay in S tier. The reason Falcons got S tier last time was because of how well their decal worked on every car. It made me excited to put it on a new car and see how it made that car look. Do they do the same thing here this year? It's cool. It does have some good strong lines. The kind of X, like overall X motif is interesting. The yellow stripes are fascinating. That's not a color I've ever associated with Falcons as a secondary color or anything. And while I've been complimenting orgs that have deviated from their orgs colors, in this case, there doesn't seem to be a clear understanding to me of why. On the other ones, it's like I could see why they were going away from their colors. Here, I don't understand the yellow on a decal that otherwise is wholly Falcons green. It is so clearly a normal Falcons that they're like, oh, we also have a little bit of gold in here. That's confusing to me. I do think these lines are going to work really well in a lot of cars, though. Centering wise, it's not perfect, but this is pretty notable. We'll see if that continues as we look through some other cars here. Centering's not as bad here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm leaning towards B right now because this is like the X is just kind of stayed in X on both cars. Let's put it on like a Masamune. The logo on top is cool. The logo on top with the kind of the white outline, I do like that. That's fun. It actually earns a few points here. The lines do kind of work, but it's interesting because like, it does just kind of like maintain that X motif. This is a great decal. It's a good decal, but it's not interesting in any way. It doesn't make me more excited to be a Falcons fan. I think last year's was absolutely better. And the yellow is just interesting. The yellow is not like, I'm like, it's just kind of like interesting. Why is there some yellow on there? Like, that's just not the color I've ever put with them. It's not getting me excited. It's not getting me upset. I think it is sitting really proper. Like, this is a quintessential B tier decal. Vitality, TSM, Twisted Minds, Wildcard. Whew. Okay. I could have sworn when we saw their logo on the stage, it was carbon fiber, but it's not. And I actually love this. I can't tell if I like or dislike. I think in this case, I'm going to dislike it, partially because it's off center. See how the line here doesn't quite, or like kind of connects fully, where over here it doesn't quite connect fully because this isn't quite centered, or the decals, probably the decal's off center and that the logo is actually centered. 2 stars because they're 2-time Rocket League World Champs. Love that. I love a bold, dark gray, light gray, yellow with no extra lines, no extra fluff. This is a strong, striking, powerful thing, and I like that it's these little chevrons instead of being a carbon fiber print. Ooh, love this. It's actually great. And a completely different car, too. I will say on the Octane here, it's leaving a little bit to be desired on the sides. Like, it does look a little, this for some reason looks a little empty, where like on the Sylvia we were just on, it looked fine. The fenders and the spoiler and everything and like the whole side of the car is just like super empty here. I do bet this one will look actually pretty good on the Pontiac. Actually, I will say that yellow actually works surprisingly well there. I kind of wish it was like in an empty spot. If all the stripes were kind of like moved over, if the logo was slightly forward, it'd look a little bit better. Yeah. Oh, that slaps. I will say I have not noticed any off-centeredness. I don't think I'm gonna take any points away from that. I see it a little bit here in the front, but like I'm like, again, I gotta be really looking for it. I could even see this being almost an S tier for me. It's very simple, but it's really coming across different on every car we're putting it on, which is really cool. I love when they can make a universal decal that actually is like, I'm excited to put on the car and find out what it looks like. It's very, very Vitality without being particularly creative. So I think it is like a strong A. TSM was my least favorite decal last time. It seemed like Baby's first attempt at designing. I did not think it was a good design. I didn't think it played with the TSM idea at all. It left so much to be desired for me. I'm really excited this season to say that is not the case. This is fire. Similarly to Falcons, the pink is a question. Why? Why pink? This isn't that TSM is a monochromatic organization. I expect their decal to just be black and white. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's not. But I will say this Innosatech hot pink, along with a distinctly techie vibe, this is a color I associate with this style of art. So it sort of works for me in that way. If you are making a cyberpunk dystopia thing, using like hot pinks and neon greens makes a lot of sense. If you're making a Western themed decal, leathers and browns makes a lot of sense. And we'll look at on the Firebird. I don't know. There's kind of a spot here. Yeah, I don't hate it. As far, it could be a little bit better positioned. Like if it was in this spot, right? That'd be perfect. And honestly, this is one of the best Firebirds we've seen so far. This is really good. Like, no, I don't think anyone else has made their Firebirds this interesting. Like the front being like where this is where the decals, where the logo's supposed to be. This isn't boring to me. I'm not like, oh, there's this big empty spot here. This, because of this way that the striping works and because of the actual geometry of the car, which is the reason you don't put the logo here. It's fine. It's detailed enough, you know? The small splash of pink just draws your eye to the logo. It's a good touch for the black and white car. Yeah, it really does. It really does. I think it actually, in this, it works and complements the decal in a way I sorta didn't feel like the Falcons one did. Kind of fire. The diamond in the back is interesting. I am getting a little bit of like off-center-y vibes here, but this is cool. This is a wrap I could see at a car show. I feel like this is the sort of thing that someone should actually do. Very Darling in the Franxx 02 Threadzilla. Like this is better than Rebellion. I think in some ways, I think this might be an S tier. The more I have looked at it, I kind of thought, oh, what does it look like? This looks like an impossible car to make a good looking universal decal for. It literally looks like a mech. Isn't that so sick? This is sick. And to go from the bottom, like they were like one of my only D tiers last season, I think it's a deserved S tier. It's so clean. It works on so many bodies. The random pink that feels unexplained other than the cyberpunk styling is kind of its only detraction. I think it is the bottom of S tier for me, but I do think that is an S tier decal. TSM, well done, TSM. All right, 2 more to go. How did Twisted Minds do? Woo! Sheesh! Wait, this is actually... This takes everything I was saying about the last one and kind of like seems to almost dial it up a level. Look at this little texture with little like, these are like the Twisted Minds. This is so good. And the like kind of like comic book like action lines and stuff around the outside. Uses their brand colors in a really fun way with like correct accent colors to go with it. Like I'm pretty sure this is their kind of like almost teal blue, but then they have this extra blue and the white, and then the like kind of the bluish black here. Like this is really strong. This is really strong, folks. And it is kind of, I'm getting different vibes on every car. I think I actually prefer the TSM one on the Vulcan, but it's cool. It's good. I like having the Twisted Minds here in the side in gray. Like lots of like complementary lines. The stroke they are using to highlight their logo here, this black stroke, is the same color as the rest of the car. How does it look on the Firebird? Actually, it's pretty good. On all of these, other than the power one, power earned so many points for just having this one be slightly better. This, I just wanted to be here. I just wanted to not be touching that, you know? And it really makes the eyes kind of pop, gives it almost this kind of like Batwing, like eyeliner type vibe, you know? That is a excellent decal. They should be very proud of themselves. Twisted Minds with an S tier. This is the most packed S tier we've ever had. Never had this many decals in S tier before. How good Wildcard looks here. Ooh, white mark. So like they have these 3 colors, right? The blue, the blue, the red, and the white. And the decal is blue and red, and the logo is white. That's kind of cool. A little bit cheeky that their logo features a star, which makes it look like they've won a world championship. And they haven't. My main complaint, so right now, is that the blue is the wrong blue. This is not the blue. They're using like this blue. Imagine this decal with that blue. I think it's a better decal. I am just partial to this blue. This blue is a little boring to me. I like this blue better. I wish they would use that blue instead. But it's part of why I like Wildcard's branding, because they use that blue. So why is that blue not present anywhere on this car? I don't know. It's just, and also the background here, it's nice and detailed and interesting, but it is also just a blurry checkered flag, which is like such basic car decoration. Their dark blue is technically their color too. It is. Well, like, and I'm pretty sure like on the coin, we have the dark blue in the background. But the light blue should be featured somewhere. Exactly my point, base. Exactly my point. And I think the car would imagine if this kind of checkered flag thing they got going on faded into a blue check, like that blue's checkered flags as well. Infinitely more interesting decal all of a sudden. Also remember to support your creators, folks. Let's try on a few other cars. Let's see, because this is the other big test, is how well does it look on all the other cars. I do like it here. I do love the just white logo they've got going on. That is cool. It's very striking. Kind of to Fluffball's point about on the TSM decal how like the lines were drawing attention to the logo. I do think that for kind of in a different technique here, the logo really pops off the car. It really do a good job of making that logo interesting. But then there's just nothing creative about the rest of it here. It's just a fast car checkered flag vibe. One of my least favorite nomads of the day. The back is lacking here. The back is, and I'm glad you said that, Tash, because like on the other cars where there is a spoiler or a big wing, it's a little bit easier to like kind of forgive the lack of interesting decal on the back. But there's just kind of nothing going on back here. But here's the thing. There's nothing about this that is bad. So I don't think it goes into C tier. I think this is just a really solid B tier. I think we've got Wildcard in B tier. And I think, folks, that is the conclusion of our tier list. How are we feeling about this? I sort of think that we do this. We definitely don't need this. Congratulations on nobody on being so bad that they were in a tier of their own. I think maybe we look back on Furia. Let's go back to Furia. I kind of agree with Dank Loops that I think this is maybe more of a... that this is maybe the vibe. Because it's like, these are different types of bad. This is last year and this is this year's. Vitality went up 2 tiers. Mates went down 2 tiers. Vitality and Mates swapped. Space Station and Dignitas always tied with each other. Falcons went down. TSM. Well done, TSM. I think this is it, folks. I think this is the definitive list to define all lists. I think we nailed it. I don't think we could possibly do better than this. I'm proud of the work we all did here. Well done, everybody. Congratulations to Dignitas, Shopify Rebellion, SSG, TSM, and Twisted Minds. Most packed S tier we've ever had.